So, what are we going to talk about this week?
Our rudder.
Yeah, a lot of people have been commenting that we took the rudder off. The rudder used to be here. This is just a skeg. A lot of people said that we took the rudder off, but we never gave a proper explanation of what happened to the rudder. The thing is, this was a long process of fixing and giving maintenance to the rudder that we wanted to wait until we have a solution for the problem before we show you, because otherwise it's just confusing to understand, right?
Yeah.
I think now it's pretty much solved the problem.
So, let's get started. I'm Roberta.
And I'm Duca.
And for the past year, we have been building our own tiny shipping container house, so we can travel around knowing that we will always have this little place that we can call home.
But guess what? We just found our dream project before we expected. This abandoned sailboat. So we are going to stop building the house for a couple months to bring our boat back to life. And then we're going to go back and finish the house.
Just a small disclaimer before we start.
Yeah, this is a really specific situation where we need to be 100% safe, because no matter how strong the boat is, if we lose a rudder one day, we're in a terrible position. So we decide to hire someone with a lot more experience than we have to disassemble for us the rudder and to give all the necessary maintenance so we can learn with him. So we are not going to be doing this alone. And by the way, the first step is going to be to take the rudder off. So we're going to show all the details and how hard it was to take the rudder off. Yeah, on the video might seem easy, but took a long time.
I had a lot of work to do that.
One of the worst things about an abandoned boat is the screws. Imagine these screws stuck for 22 years. It's just terrible to take them off.
Yeah, but we managed to do that.
So let's get started.
This got rust with time and we need to change this.
I don't know if you understood, but the main problem is that we have this flange. I mean, we cut off already, as you can tell. So this is corroded in many spots, and the part we took off here was really corroded already, maybe like halfway corroded. So we needed to exchange this for a new one, but we had another problem, that was this shaft wouldn't go off to the top because this would hit the top, right? So basically, if we take this all the way to the top, the flange that was here would stop here. So took like 3 days to try to find out how this was installed at first place, because at first we thought that was something that you could like separate this part of the shaft from the flange, and we couldn't. Like the guy that was doing that for us couldn't find at all. So we decided the only way we could take the shaft off was basically to cut the flange so we can take through the side. So in this way, now we can take the shaft off, and with the shaft off we can solve this problem. So what we did, this was like here, the flange. We took this to a metal turner guy, and he cut this off so we could find out if there was any kind of, I don't know, connection here, or any kind of two materials together. And what we realized is that this was one piece. So if this was one piece, the only way we found, like the best way we found to fix this was to create this small, I don't know, neck, and then we turn a new flange. That's a brand new one. Look at that. Isn't that pretty?
Isn't this beautiful?
Yeah, so this is a brand new flange without welds. This is not welded. This was one piece, and we just turn all the way and create this one piece. And now we can slide really tight together, so it's really tight. And now we can penetrate the weld on this chamfer. So the chamfer is really big, so the weld can penetrate really well. And we need to find the exact position, because here is where the steering wheel quadrant is located. So these need to be on the exactly perfect position to make sure the rudder is straight. Of course, as you can tell, we didn't do that yet. That's the next step. I'm pretty sure we are not going to be able to do this week, because we need to have the guy that took off the rudder here so he can position perfectly the steering wheel quadrant, and we need the welder to come here on the same day. So it's pretty hard to find both guys at the same time to come here, but hopefully soon we are going to weld this in place. I'm going to try to make it simple. It's really complicated to explain this, but I'm going to do my best to explain you how does this shaft works. Because if this was a regular rudder, we could have just a massive shaft, so it would be easy. You just have the shaft going all the way to the end of the rudder and fix there, it's fine. But the problem is that this rudder is a lifting rudder. That's the other half of the rudder, and this is the first half of the rudder. The reason for that is because we have a lifting center board, and whenever we lift the center board, we need also to lift the rudder, otherwise we can hit the rudder on something. And the way we do that is through turning this piece. Can you see inside here?
True. The sand's too strong.
Yeah. Good? Mm-hmm. So if I turn this piece, this part goes down, and this is a screw on there. That means that when this goes down, the inside part of the rudder goes down. And the way we do that is by having two shafts. So this shaft goes inside of that shaft. That means that's the reason why it's hollow, the shaft, because we need to have this shaft inside, and then we can, you know, turn this on the top of the boat, and then I think we showed that before already. So basically the whole system, how it works, is by turning this shaft, but we need to seal all the parts to make sure water won't go inside of the boat. By the way, just a disclaimer, we didn't clean these parts yet. They're all with old grease. We still need to clean them up and re-grease them, but basically these are all the parts from the shaft. So this is the seal. This is the old one, yeah. So this is the new one. This is the seal of the bottom part of the shaft when the shaft goes inside of the hull of the boat, and then this part is when the shaft goes back outside on the top of the hull. And this is how we safely have a shaft that doesn't go water inside of the boat. That's why we need someone to help, because there are too many small pieces that we are still learning and understanding how they work, and someone with more experience than us, it's a huge help, and we can learn, and in the future we can do it by ourselves.
It's about time to welcome on board our new patrons.
So welcome on board Guy,
Dave,
Mark,
Manuel,
Rolf,
Roy,
Hugh,
Francesco,
Eric,
Jay,
Sergio,
Bo,
Matthias,
Lord Benjamin,
Murai,
Terence,
William,
June,
Charles,
Alan,
Peter,
Denise,
Giselle,
Brian,
Bradford,
Ernest,
Charles,
Tom,
Floyd,
Thomas. And I also want to thank for all the birthday wishes and the gifts that I received through our PayPal account. So thanks a lot, Kenneth.
I don't know if you remember, but that was her birthday last week.
So thanks a lot, Kenneth, Gary, Robert, and Neil.
Neil is a really good friend of ours. That was like a really good surprise. Neil is a guy from India that lives in the States, and he has a shipping container house factory. He built shipping container house just like the one we are building back home. And he been following us since day one when we were building the house, and we became really good friends even though we never met him in person. I just call him today actually. Yeah. Neil, thanks so much, and we really appreciate you being on board for such a long time.
His factory is Modern Blocks, so
Yeah.
check it out.
Yeah, he built some really cool houses actually. So we see you guys
Next Monday.
next Monday. During the week it's hard to record because of the noise of machines, and during the weekend the birds. Yeah, it's really loud.